This is Nightline.
Tonight, former Prince Andrew arrested. The disgraced royal taken into custody on King Charles's private estate on suspicion of misconduct in public office.
Your Majesty, do you have any reaction to the arrest of your brother, sir?
Following mounting outrage over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, Andrews denied all wrongdoing.
This is the first time in modern British history that a senior royal, any royal, has been arrested.
Inside the private emails between the prince and the predator, what the palace is saying tonight as the family of one of his accusers fights for justice.
Virginia took down a prince, and that is one for the history books.
Plus, Milo Ventimiglia, from the troubled boyfriend on Gilmore Girls.
Why did you drop out of Yale?
To the sexy dad on This Is Us.
I love the mother that you were.
Jack Pearson was always reminiscent of a father you had or a father you wanted.
Now back on the big screen.
God is feeling fire.
You're never alone.
How he channeled his pain into his art after losing his home in the LA fires.
When you lose a house and every single belonging you have, it's like, where do you go from there?
And chocolate backlash, why some say Reese's peanut butter cups might not taste like you remember.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is Nightline.
Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the fallout from the shocking arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the King of England's brother. The British crown in crisis amid the royals' ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Tonight we go inside the private emails between the prince and the predator. Could the eighth in line to the British throne end up in prison? If a picture's worth 1,000 words, the shell-shocked look on Andrew's face says it all. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince, in the backseat of a car, seemingly hiding from the cameras, moments after being released from police custody.
This really is a photo for the ages, an extraordinary image. The look of shock, fear, maybe disbelief at what has unfolded. This is a man who has now, once was a Prince of England, has now lost everything. This is the first time in modern British history that a senior royal, any royal, has been arrested.
His release coming nearly 12 hours after Andrew was arrested on his 66th birthday in Sandringham, England, turning Queen Elizabeth's quiet country retreat into a frenzy.
This is a royal estate being raided by Thames Valley Police. This is an extraordinary moment.
His arrest certainly came as a shock, but charges have not followed. Whether he faces charges, that remains to be seen, but the investigation continues.
It's the latest in the long fall from grace for Andrew after his ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and accusations in a civil lawsuit that Andrew forced 17-year-old Virginia Giuffre to have sex with him, claims he always denied. But today's arrest not related to the sexual assault allegations, instead stemming from communications with Epstein while he was trade envoy for the British government. Emails between the two allegedly contained potentially sensitive government documents, some dated to 2010, well after Epstein had already been convicted of soliciting sex from a minor. In December 2010, Andrew sending an email titled Afghanistan, International Investment Opportunities, writing in part, attached is a confidential brief and asking for Epstein's comments, views, or ideas.
These are documents and information that was actually he just shouldn't be passing on to anybody. The reality is it was government information, and that sort of privileged information could have been used by someone like a financier like Epstein to make financial benefit and gain from it.
He was arrested for misconduct in public office, which is a serious offence. If found guilty, this carries a maximum life sentence.
Just hours after his younger brother was taken into custody, King Charles spotted front row at London Fashion Week. Outside the event, Charles dodging reporters' questions.
Your Majesty, do you have any reaction to the arrest of your brother, sir?
Earlier in the day, he released a formal statement reading in part, I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair, and proper process. They have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course.
This is a massive scandal for the royal family. It has been for some time. The issue that they have always had is whether or not their institution feels like it has anything in common with the British public or if in fact being part of the royal family means you're part of a club where the rules don't apply to you.
Andrew and Epstein's friendship dates back roughly 3 decades.
Andrew was introduced to Epstein at some point in the 90s via Ghislaine Maxwell, who was his friend.
Epstein wanted access. He wanted to be in the innermost inner circle. He did that through mixing with aristocracy, mixing with royalty. He was weaseling his way into royal circles. Andrew wanted access to beautiful women. He wanted a party lifestyle. He wanted to get away from the stuffiness of English royal life.
But recently released documents connected to the case against Epstein show the depths of their relationship.
3 million documents containing some of the deepest secrets of the Epstein files. A member of the royal family in photos, crouching over a young woman's body. The thing is, everyone knows his face. But also buried in here are emails between a sexual predator and a literal prince.
Descriptions of women: Russian, clever, beautiful.
5 other stunning redheads we will all just have to play with ourselves.
Andrew asking if someone has found me some new inappropriate friends.
What I find extraordinary is not necessarily that Andrew had the arrogance to do this. It's that he was bringing a convicted sex offender into places, into the Queen's private homes, and nobody said anything.
Over the years, the two men remained close, even after Epstein served time, like this moment of the two captured in New York's Central Park, just months after Epstein was released from house arrest.
Epstein was being investigated for sex offences involving girls as young as 14, and in 2008 he reached what is now viewed as a very controversial plea deal to plead guilty to charges of soliciting a minor. And as a result of that, he had to serve 18 months in prison, and he was also placed under house arrest.
After he serves his time, he now has to register as a sex offender. And what these emails show is Prince Andrew was one of the first people that Jeffrey Epstein reached out to when he was released, and immediately is talking about sending women to him.
And then in 2011, Virginia Giuffre going public with accusations that Epstein trafficked her to Andrew.
Virginia Giuffre was perhaps Epstein's most prominent accuser. She says that she was recruited by Epstein and Maxwell, and that she became Epstein's sex slave, effectively, is what she says. And she travelled with them, spent time with them, and she has also made serious accusations against Prince Andrew, accusing him of sexual assault during this time.
Virginia Roberts spoke to the BBC about her allegations.
Ghislaine tells me that I have to do for Andrew what I do for Jeffrey. And that made me sick. It was disgusting. He got up and he said thanks and walked out, and I sat there in bed just horrified and ashamed and felt dirty.
Giuffre was just 17 in the now infamous photo showing her alongside the prince and Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. Both Andrew and Maxwell have denied any wrongdoing.
Virginia Giuffre alleged that she was trafficked to Prince Andrew and ended up having sex with him 3 times.
He knows exactly what he's done, and I hope he comes clean about it.
Andrew was asked about Giuffre in a now infamous 2019 BBC interview.
I can absolutely categorically tell you it never happened.
That sit-down backfiring spectacularly for Andrew.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
In that same interview, Andrew addressing that infamous photo.
Nobody can prove whether or not that photograph has been doctored, but I don't recollect that photograph ever being taken.
In 2022, Andrew settled a lawsuit with Giuffre for an undisclosed sum, denying any wrongdoing.
It remains very unclear the details surrounding the settlement that Andrew paid, who in fact gave him the money to pay Virginia Giuffre. Did he tell the Queen a story that has now since turned out to not be true?
In October of last year, the king stripping Andrew of his remaining royal titles, including that of prince, and kicked out of his longtime residence, the Royal Lodge.
Why did it take them so long to act and to condemn him? It's all happened when public interest has become so fierce and so negative that the royal family were forced to act.
He's had all his titles removed, and he's now been moved by the king from living in Windsor out to effectively the equivalent of British Siberia.
Virginia's brother and sister-in-law reflecting on what that moment meant to them.
The recent, stripping of his title, man, that day, I remember we were at work and I couldn't even hold myself together physically. I was like, Virginia, if you could see that even now, what you have done, a king had to acknowledge that something happened here.
It was tears of joy in the sense of, the accomplishment that the king had to acknowledge. But let's be clear, we need to do more.
Giuffre died by suicide in 2025.
Virginia took down a prince, and that is one for the history books.
Despite being released without charges, Andrew is still under investigation.
He's the king's brother. He was the Queen's second son, and the implications of this just go on and on and on.
The Andrew scandal speaks to a wider issue that I think people around the world are grappling with in many countries, which is, are there groups of people, specifically men, for whom the rules do not apply? This is something that touches a nerve not just here in the UK but around the world. It is existential for the monarchy.
And for much more on the royal crisis, watch Impact by Nightline, The Prince, The Predator, and The Arrest. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu. And when we come back, we're with This Is Us star Milo Ventimiglia, back on the big screen in a new film. How he says the role helped him become a better parent.
Telling God and reminding myself that I'm grateful.
Welcome back. From Gilmore Girls to This Is Us, Milo Ventimiglia has been part of some of our favorite shows on the small screen. Now he's on the big screen in an inspirational film. How the actor says the role helped him heal after losing everything in the LA fires. Milo sat down with ABC's Gio Benitez.
Milo Ventimiglia, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Nightline.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
First of all, it is such a gorgeous, beautiful movie.
Thank you.
Can't wait to talk about that.
Thank you.
But first, let's talk about, it's been 4 years since This Is Us.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we talk about this show with other people, and especially with your character, people just start crying.
Jack Pearson was always reminiscent of a father you had or a father you wanted. Jack was inside really connecting to people.
And that's what you do so well, right? You connected so well as Jess in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. The fact that that show has had the life that it has had 20 plus years ago when we actually made it is a testament to the writing and what the creators put forth for everybody.
Well, we did this little poll, very scientific poll, of course, within Nightline and our staff. 66% said you were Rory's best boyfriend.
That's nice. That's encouraging. I like where Jess went. I know he was a bit troubled and whatnot, a bit mischievous, too smart for his own good when he was younger. But I thought he kind of evolved into a very well-perspected young man. Like the way he was looking at life and what he saw for Rory.
What are you doing? Living at your grandparents' place? Being in the DAR? No, Yale. Why did you drop out of Yale?
I thought he landed in a really, really nice place.
Absolutely. And I think that perspective is also one that we see in your character of Tim.
Sure.
And I Can Only Imagine too. Let's go ahead and take a look at a clip here before we keep talking about this.
I got the tour.
Babe, that's incredible. Oh, congrats. Oh, honey, you've worked so hard for this. Come here. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Would you least expect it, Tim?
Such a fun moment. But I got to tell you, In every one of your scenes, your big scenes, I was in tears because it's such a beautiful reflection on life, on family, on goals, on dreams, on all the things. What's it for you?
I mean, I think you kind of nailed it earlier, talking about perspective and point of view. You know, we all have things that we're going through in life, struggles. Tim himself is going through something, you know, very serious. 20 years ago, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, given 5 years to live, and he has outlived that. Still with cancer.
He is still with us today.
Still with us today. He's one of the most amazingly positive, beautiful human beings I've ever come across in my life and my work. You know, that X that he writes on his wrist, he's grateful. He's just grateful for every day that he's given to be here, to be with his family, with those that he loves, and also like be there with himself, you know, through this journey of cancer.
This movie, one of your lines that made me cry and make so many others cry, is talking about faith even in the fire.
Sure.
And this is something that you were filming at the same time when you lost both homes there in the California wildfires.
Yes.
All of this happening at the same time. What was going through your mind in that moment?
The day of the fires, when they popped off, I was on a Zoom with Tim, getting to know one another and asking questions, and I look out my back slider and I just see the sky go from beautiful blue to an amber color, and I thought that's not right. And I say to Tim, hey man, I gotta go. My wife's 9 months pregnant. And you know, that day we basically on security cameras watched our houses burn. You know, there's a moment where you think, what am I gonna do to move forward? Once we kind of got to safety, the directors of this film, Andy Irwin and Brent McCorkle, I got on the phone with them and they said, hey, Mai, if you need to take a break, if you need to step back, like, we're here to support your family first. And I said, no, actually, I think I really need to do this because there is so much of how Tim relates to those fires of life in the story. And now I'm like, it's really personal to me at this point, having gone through this major, mega loss for my family, not just for myself. And, you know, as an artist, I could just channel all that into the work and kind of let it live on screen to where just I was able to process things and really move through them, not past them, but through them with this film. And I'm grateful.
I do want to ask you about the music because you did become sort of a musician.
Of three songs, I became a musician of 3 songs, which is great.
But people are going to say, hey, is he going to start singing? Is he going to start? No?
No, right. I mean, once I step away from Tim, you know, don't have my calluses on my fingers. My voice is not warmed up the way it was when we were in production. So all that kind of like slips to the side. Thank
Milo,
you.
Thank you so much for being here.
So
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's multi-talented. Our thanks to Gio. I Can Only Imagine 2 is out Friday. When we come back, why some say Reese's, two great tastes that taste great together, might taste a little different now. And finally tonight, drama in the House of Reese's.
Delicious. 2 great tastes that taste great together. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
The peanut butter cups, known for their 2 great tastes that taste great together, but now the grandson of the inventor of the beloved candy accusing parent company Hershey of skimping on the good stuff, chocolate and peanut butter, and damaging the brand. Telling the AP he threw out a bag of Reese's mini hearts because it was not edible. The Hershey's company saying this week that Reese's peanut butter cups are made the same as they always have been, with milk chocolate and peanut butter. I better go taste one. Well, that's Nightline for tonight. You can watch all of our full episodes on Disney Plus and Hulu. We'll see you right back here tomorrow, same time. Thanks for staying up with us. Good night, America.